Okay. I look like the Michelin Man. Hello everyone, my name is Alice and I am a semi-professional baker, and I'm here today to react to some of your and some of other people's baking fails. I get these videos sent to me all the time and they come up on my For You page, and I decided maybe I'd have some good input on them. Or I'm just about to roast a lot of people, I don't know, but let's get into it. Okay, this is what I wanted. They look like amazing cookies. They're something you would buy. Enjoy. I much prefer my job than what he's doing. He actually has a proper job and I'm here making videos. So let's get back into it. Okay, this is what I wanted. They look amazing. They look professional. They look like lovely chocolate chip cookies. This is making me hungry. I would buy them if they were in a bakery and, well, oh no. What even went wrong with them? They seem undercooked but also overcooked. They're burnt around the edges. What I'm thinking is, looking at the bubbles, too much raising agent maybe. If I'm honest, I have no idea what went wrong with this person's baked good, but keep trying. That's probably what I'm going to say to everyone. Just keep trying, you'll get better. I promise that's actually true. If you keep trying baking, you will get better. Regrettably, on to the next one. POV, you spend 24 hours making sourdough and it turns, oh no. Okay, 24 hours is a good medium for sourdough. I wouldn't be going over 24 hours souring anything just because it's not to my taste. If you want really artisanal sour sourdough, go over 24 hours. I don't know what you spent the 24 hours on, because if you're kneading something for 24 hours, it's going to be different to just letting it ferment for 24 hours. Anyways, what went wrong here is if you have so many air bubbles, something within, I don't know, fermentation, it looks okay. It obviously looks like a nice loaf of bread. When you're folding it in on itself, you obviously aren't knocking any of the air out. You want to knock a tiny bit of the air out so you don't get the huge massive gaps. And when you're actually forming it into its final piece and tipping it out onto the tray, if there are the massive bubbles still within it that you haven't somehow worked out during the phase, it'll turn out like that. It's not to say it's bad. I think a lot of sourdoughs have the massive gaping holes in them, and that's part of the sourdough experience. But yeah, no. Would I eat it? Probably. Would I serve it? No, probably not. Okay, on to the next one. That wasn't the worst fail. Okay, plastic bowl, very hot liquid. Oh, come on, man. Oh no. The poor noodle's gone in the sink. Okay. What would happen here is you obviously put a very hot liquid into a plastic bowl. It's obviously going to melt. There's no way of preventing that. Plastic is not heat proof. Some are. This one obviously is not, and you're gonna have a big noodle disaster in your sink. Not much I can add to this one except, yeah, get a metal or a porcelain bowl. I was today years old when I found out that the parchment paper is parched and you have to get it wet for it to sit in any tin perfectly. Oh no. No, not at all. What? I might have to take a second. That is so stupid. I honestly don't know how to comment on this, but I'm going to go into some factual information about parchment paper, not because it's parched. Anyways, parchment paper used to be made as a writing material, and it was made out of animal skins. Nowadays, it's made out of a much kinder material called cellulose. Anyways, some parchment papers are siliconed, which is usually called silicone paper, especially in America and all, and sometimes it's greaseproof paper, which isn't siliconed, and everything sticks to greaseproof, and somehow people in their minds have it that greaseproof means nothing is going to stick to it. Greaseproof only means that if you pour grease on it, it's not going to go all shiny and horrible. It's used for wrapping chips in like a chip shop. I'll show you the difference between siliconed, which is what you should use if you don't want things to stick, not because it's parched, but because it's slippy and slidey. And greaseproof is obviously used for other reasons, not particularly often in baking. I'm going to show you guys the difference. This here is greaseproof, so it's not shiny at all. In fact, it's really dull, and it is a little bit see-through, okay? It's not the best quality one, but that is greaseproof. And this here is silicone. Now, I know it probably won't show up the best on camera, but it is much, much, much shinier, and it feels siliconed. salmon, 10 minutes in the air fryer, potatoes made with peas and carrots. My mum is just giving me cooking instructions for dinner tonight, but this is the difference between them. I know they look the exact same to you guys, but to a baker they look very different. I think I just woke my neighbours up with that. Okay, on to the next video. Don't cancel your business when things don't go your way. Okay, they look like nice cookies, whether there was something off with the ingredients. It's a shame to throw them in the bin. Obviously, if you had a family that were willing to eat them, that is the way that I would get rid of baked goods that weren't particularly up to grade. Obviously, don't cancel your business. It's really, it's detrimental to your feelings when you actually have something that goes wrong in the bakery because it's money. Oh, ingredients are so expensive, and especially if you're using fat and you're using chocolate, it hurts to throw it in the bin. That's where I feed it to my family. But yeah, there's no point cancelling your business if something goes wrong because it just means the recipe isn't perfect. It's not usually your baking skills, it's the recipe. So yeah, don't get too sad if things don't go your way, it's okay. Trust me, they could look a lot worse. Some of your cake fails that you sent me are absolutely insane and we'll look at them at the end of the video. But for now, on to the next video. Me telling my clients they can have a wedding cake made out of styrofoam. Okay, this is a common practice. I don't necessarily see it a lot in Europe, but in America I see this. If you want a really impressive looking cake, in reality you can have one layer be cake, or in this part half a layer be cake, and then have the rest of the tiers just be styrofoam. Obviously in this video, does she have a layer in between? Yes, okay, she has a layer in between the styrofoam and the cake. If you were to serve this, make sure there's a barrier between the cake and styrofoam, because imagine if you were cutting into a cake and half of it is cake and half of it is styrofoam, that wouldn't be very nice, but yeah, she has a barrier, so this is perfectly food safe. Okay, on to the next one. I saw on TikTok that if you put purple food colouring into yellow, oh no, oh god, purple buttercream. Okay. Yeah, you used far too much purple. Now obviously colour theory, they're opposite on the spectrum and all. If you want to not have it turn out purple, I wouldn't use food colouring. Oh god, that looks terrible. Okay, if you want really white buttercream, what you have to do is beat your butter on its own, don't mix in the icing sugar for at least 10-15 minutes on high speed. It will then become really aerated, it'll look lovely, and it will also become white, which is what you want. Yeah, that does not look good, but yeah, you just have to beat your butter for longer. That's the only way to do it. If you're doing it with purple food colouring, probably isn't gonna look very nice. You're also not gonna get proper white. You'll probably get a really grey looking cake. This is like the plastic bowl I just saw. Oh my god. Okay, so this person obviously thought they could cook something on a plastic tray, a chopping board. You can't do that. It's very rare for plastic to be oven safe. This is going to make me have a bit of a breakdown here. Yeah, just basics of kitchen safety, don't put anything plastic in an oven. I've actually seen this happen in the bakery before. Another student had put a plastic scraper, a bench scraper, a really thin piece of plastic onto their desk. They took a hot tray out of the oven and placed it on top of the plastic scraper. It then fused to the bottom of the tray, and then they put it straight back into the oven, and it actually stuck to the bottom of the oven and got all destroyed, and it was horrible, and you had to pick it off and chip it off at the bottom of the oven. Anyways, it was a disaster, and anyone in a professional kitchen should know to not put plastic anywhere near any heat, unless it's heat proof. Okay, on to the next one. The cake has been in the oven for over 30 minutes. What did I do wrong? The cake looks fine. Obviously it's fairly undercooked right now, underbaked, but it looks fine. There's nothing wrong with that cake. If it's that deep of a tin that you're using and it's coming up that high, it's obviously going to need a lot longer to bake. It's a thick cake. It's like a foot thick. Yeah, no, it just needs longer in the oven. 30 minutes is, obviously, if you're reading the box cake mix and you're thinking, oh my god, 30 minutes, it has to be done by 30 minutes. No, just leave it in for... My neighbours are currently extending their house and it sounds really loud. Anyways, it's just underbaked. You just have to bake it for longer. My wife saying her sourdough bread is okay. Me wondering how much a pallet of flour in a commercial mixer costs. First of all, they cost a lot of money. I'd be saying up to €2,000-3,000 for a basic one. Anyways, your sourdough bread. They look quite good, especially sourdough. Sourdough baguettes are a pain in my behind, to be PG. They look okay, they look nice. When you're rolling out, you can see there's actually a visible dip in the actual center of her baguettes. So when she's rolling it out, she's focusing on the middle and only slowly extending out to the ends. That's, everyone does it, I even do it. So that's why they have this kind of fluted shape on each end. Her cuts could obviously be better. And when she's actually rolling the bread into its final shape, it looks as though it's a little bit overstretched. That's why there's weird cracks. Honestly, absolutely amazing attempt at sourdough baguettes, and she has the right equipment there. She doesn't need a commercial mixer. I promise you can do it even with your hands. Us bakers don't use commercial mixers for baguettes, but great attempt. This is not a fail. This is a good thing. On to the next one. POV, anytime I have to measure sticky ingredients while baking, it's an absolute pain. What you're doing, yes, you're probably American, so you're using cup ingredients. What I would do is just convert it into grams and then add my bowl onto my scale, tare it, which means bring it back to 0, and then pour in the grammage that's converted from milliliters into it. Then there's no finicky tools. But if you're using cups, yes, you can coat them in oil, but if you're making stuff like meringue, you don't want any oil in your baked goods, so it really depends on what you're making. If you're eyeballing it and you just want something that'll turn out semi-okay, then keep doing that. I just wanted to try my new piping bag. Okay, bad technique, but I'm not going to say anything. Oh, no. It's happened to all of us. Oh my God. Okay. Looks lovely, the one that you piped. The other one, it actually could look okay if you smooth it out with a spoon, but I'm going to show you guys how to properly use a piping bag, okay? Give me a second. 2 years of bakery school and this never gets easier. Okay, here you have your piping bag, okay, just like hers. Now, hers isn't actually twisted properly at the top, she's overfilled it. So when you squeeze, it's gonna come out here and it's gonna droop over everything. So what you do, you wanna twist it until it balloons like this, and now when you press down, nothing is gonna come out the top. You can also tie it if you're not willing to refill your piping bag, just use 2 separate ones. Anyways, you have it like this. So you shouldn't have to pipe with 2 hands, you can. You hold it with your hand in a cup shape, holding where the actual exit of the piping bag is. Probably not the best lingo to use. And then you pipe downwards. You only should use pressure from this hand, and you can use this hand to direct it. When you pipe, you just pipe and you slowly add pressure with this hand. That's all. On to the next video. Okay, so this person has been told by their baker this cake is light and fluffy. Okay, I can see where the baker was coming from. Do I think this cake is light and fluffy? No, but every baker will say their cakes are the lightest and the fluffiest, but that's fine. This cake is probably really cold. It looks cold. When you drop it, it's holding its structure. If it's light and fluffy, it'll probably just crumble to bits. When I think of light and fluffy, I think one of those Japanese jiggly cheesecakes. This cake looks nice though. It looks quite dense, okay, I'm not gonna lie about that, but it looks moist. Horrible word to use, but we use it far too often. It looks nice. They've probably used a simple syrup over it. I would still eat this cake. It doesn't look bad. It looks lovely. It looks like even cake layers. Light and fluffy, just not really the proper words to describe, and I understand why this person is mocking that. Okay, right into the video, he's cursing and taking the kind of sarcasm to baking. Okay, it is people's careers, don't forget that. You do have fancy equipment, you're using a KitchenAid. Right now I don't need nothing fancy to be the best. You don't need anything fancy to be the best. I don't even have a stand mixer in my kitchen right now. If you're making crepes, oh no. Okay. I always laugh at the way Americans say aluminum. You've made American pancakes. Crepes are so thin. You've almost added raising agents to your pancake batter. Your ego should not be thriving. Oh, buddy, you've what, had 6 layers of American pancakes rolled up? And they look rubbery. That is not a traditional Baumkuchen. I can see that, and I've actually never even made Baumkuchen. Oh, buddy, they look terrible. Okay, don't be egotistical about something you're not capable of. Oh, buddy. I don't even know what to say. Make crepes and yeah, try and make proper crepes next time. Not good. Excited to use the cutest moulds with cherries for our flan. Number one, flan is almost like a liquid on top. It's a syrup. It's not going to hold its shape unless you use gelatine, which... Ooh. Okay, let's see how this mould turned out. Oh. It didn't turn out. You know what? Good on you. Props on you for trying. Just not the right baked good. If you put like a lovely greaseproof spray in it and then poured some cake batter in it would be lovely, but no, probably not the best mould to use on a flan. Probably not best to use a mould on a flan at all. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's burnt, just spray some water. Oh, okay. Bakery practices do spray water on the top of breads to stop them cracking. I think it's probably gone a little bit. You're halfway to making charcoal, mate. Oh my goodness. Some breads are actually purposely burned, and I think what happened here is you probably had the top heat on your oven too high. A traditional proper bakery oven will have a bottom heat and a top heat, and their top heat was far too hot and their bottom heat was probably perfect. That's why the sides of the crust look lovely. But I'll show you a traditional slice pan in Ireland and it will look that burnt on top. I don't have the on-brand stuff, but here is what it looks like on top. So it is quite charred. It's not like a normal bread that would be this color. It's this color instead. Tastes lovely. That's just a tiny bit too burnt. But some people might like that. Some people like burnt bread and I'm completely in favor of that. Oh, I should show you guys my custom chopping board. Oh my God. I haven't showed you guys this yet. I got this yesterday. Okay. How cool is this? I just realized my video is mirrored. It says From Scratch Baker. I love it so much. On to the next one. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, first of all, that's usually the base of an oven if you're like... That's not a tray, is what I'm trying to say. Definitely not non-stick. You should have some silicone paper underneath. Your cookies also look like... bad. Probably not a proper recipe. I'd love to share my cookie recipe at some point so you guys can make proper looking ones. Yeah, not a very wise decision, and also using a fish slice and an offset spatula to try and get it up is very much probably not the best tools to use. I would just steep it in some boiling water and scrape it up. Yeah, not a wise decision. Micheal accidentally destroys cake. Okay, looks okay so far. He's using the right technique to flip it out. Amazing. What is gonna go wrong here? Okay, amazing. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God, okay. At least his friends are laughing about it. I'd be heartbroken. Oh no! That is genuinely probably the worst thing when it's so perfect and they had all the icing ready to go. Yeah, I'd probably cry too. I'd say Mamma Mia like him. My reward after working hard on a starter for a month. A starter for a month is a long time. That's just a brick of yeast. The ratios in my head that you would have to do to make that your loaf of bread is crazy. You might need to change your recipe a little bit. Good on you for like dedicating yourself for a month on a starter. But yeah, try again. Okay, now is the segment that you guys have been looking forward to. I let you guys on my Instagram send me some pictures of your bake fails. I have never been so excited to wake up on a day to thousands of you guys sending your pretty horrific fails. So I'm gonna go through some of my favorites. And this first one is it's just how I feel on the inside. If you try and make a cookie with too much fat, this is what happens. And it makes me giggle. I've done this before, honestly. No, I'm not going to admit to something before, but I have dropped a cake. This was a long time ago before I was a professional. I dropped it on the floor, scoop it up a little bit and bake it. My floor was clean. But if this happened to me, I would definitely throw it away nowadays and I'd be crying. How does it... You've given it's almost like you've given soup when they do a drizzle of cream on it. How have you made a cake batter separate in its tin? Oh, and I didn't even see the leakage. Yeah, I would love to see what recipe you used for that, because that would make me crack up. I think everyone's had a bit of a gingerbread house fail in their lives. I've had one collapse in on itself while I was decorating it. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, even my dog agrees. That just looks funny. Oh, okay. It's decorative. It's modern art. It looks like you've just learned how to use a piping bag. You probably did just learn how to use a piping bag. You know what? I'd still eat it. That's a compliment. Do the brownies need a tin or not? Have you cooked them in a circle tin? Are they cooked even yet? And why are the raspberries burnt? I don't get it. One thing to say when I see this picture, you decorated your cake when it's too hot. And if you're trying to spread icing onto a cake, it's gonna pull up and it's gonna crumble. Or your cake looked like that from the beginning, and I feel sorry for you either way. Did we forget the rising agents? Did we forget that bread is supposed to have yeast in? Did we forget it's supposed to be bread? I don't know. This one has been cracking me up for so long. This is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what it turned out like. Why do they have afros? This just makes me laugh. You've given them amazing hair. They're tucked into bed with their gorgeous locks instead of just looking like a pillow. It makes me so happy. Obviously you've baked them on, I don't even know what you've done. You've burnt the chocolate somehow, but that's fine. They just are so funny. And lastly, we have a focaccia that is more of a cracker. Is it tiny, or is it the perspective that the camera is at? I don't know, but it's more like a crisp than a focaccia. Okay, thank you all for sending me your absolutely hilarious bake fails. I don't think I've laughed this much in a very long time. If you want to keep sending them to me, I might make another one of these. If it gets over like 1,000 views, I'll make another one. Yeah, I don't really know what to say except keep baking. You'll get there eventually. If your bakes look like this, just don't give up.